This is episode 11 of the radio podcast. In this episode, we interview Bradley Lambert. Jivan, you know Bradley Lambert.
Yeah, he's a really good friend of mine. We played a joint written song back in grade 8 at Fine Arts Night, and we performed in a contest and won the best original song played in a band.
Yeah, I actually asked him that question because last time we had you on this recording, you mentioned that. So I asked him that and he talked all about it. So it was a good interview with him. He's a really interesting kid. Lots of experiences. He likes to do lots of hands-on stuff. He talks about the food trucks that he's building. He's been doing that for like 3 years now. So we did our interview in the detention room over there. So we were trying to go for that, Johnny Cash
Rebel
prison vibe.
Yeah. Folsom Prison Blues.
Folsom Prison, yeah. So that kind of worked out, and the sound was kind of weird in there, but it was neat. Mr. B was there as well, so they played some blues. So it was a great interview. How are you doing, Jivan?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well. What's going on with Student Council right now?
All right. So for Student Council, we're actually planning a Spirit Day this month. We haven't exactly come up with any confirmed ideas, but there is more to come on that. We're also planning our Kiss a Fish annual assembly. And so it's just in the initial stages. We're going to start to get advertising to begin. We're starting to look at donations where we might do them. And we're also looking for participants. So I believe it's one grad, a teacher, and one other person. And basically the idea is that whoever raises the most amount of money is going to kiss a fish. Also, grad committee, maybe not student council, but grad committee is looking at having a bake sale and samosa sale coming up. So if you'd like to support your grad 2017, be awesome and help us out by coming to our bake sale and samosa sale.
Yes, grads need the money.
Oh, yes, we do.
To have a good ceremony. Everybody wants that.
Everybody does.
So, Kiss a Fish, we do this every year. Have you guys picked out the fish yet?
No, but as an avid fisherman, if Delview's looking if anybody's looking for some fish, I can
go pick one up yourself.
I can definitely go see and catch one. Born and raised in Canada.
Can you get one of those big ugly monk fishes? I'm just waiting for the time when we have a giant ugly monk fish.
Maybe I'll try to bring in some dolphin fish or pike,
hagfish.
Maybe something a bit bigger like cod or halibut. Nothing beats a barn door sized halibut.
Yeah, or a slimy hagfish. That's what we really want. Awesome. Anything else?
No, that would be it.
Terrific. So here's the podcast. Enjoy. High five.
High five.
And they're made with man-made ivory. So, have you heard of Graphtec before? My dad's company?
Well, you mentioned it to me.
You never heard of them before that?
No.
Well, drop your guitar pick on the table there. This has got a built-in key to it, right? So, play an E chord with that one there. Now, play one with this and see if you notice any tone difference.
Flex. Wow, it's a good gauge.
Haven't turned around and played a different guitar picks and
do they wear out quickly?
Just like an average pick.
Just like an average pick.
Yeah.
Wow.
Pretty cool, eh?
So your dad's company makes those?
Not his company. The company he works for.
Oh, okay.
It's actually just down in Tilbury. It's called Graphtec Guitar Labs, and they build nuts and saddles and all sorts of different things that, their main go-to is fixing problems that guitar players encounter a lot. Like, they have a system called ratio tuning heads, which is your machine heads right here, And if you look on here, all these gears are the same, right? Well, the ones they have built are all different, so each string reacts to it differently. So, like you're not sitting there tuning the G string for 15 minutes, right?
Right.
And it holds it in tune better. So
Cool.
Well, that's neat. That's neat. So, have you built your own stuff for your guitar, or built a guitar before? 'Cause
actually,
you're quite handy, I know.
yeah. Well, I've been peer tutoring Mr. Jackson's afternoon class, and a lot of kids in there just sort of sitting around not needing help. And Mr. Jackson's like, "You can build something if you want." So I turned around and was like, "Oh, I'm going to build a lap steel guitar, right?" So I went over to Mr. Brown, and he set me up with some wood, and just been laying all the plans out for it. Like, I have to router out all the holes for the pickups and everything in it. So
Nice.
I'm starting to do that right now. It's going to be pretty cool because to buy a lap steel, they're expensive, right? So and I've never built a guitar before, so I don't know. Maybe it's something I could be doing in 10 years. You never know.
That'd be great.
Build more guitars than playing.
Do you have everything you need here to build like everything?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I just went out and got all the electronics I need.
Yeah.
It cost me $20.
Really?
Yeah. Last night, so.
Well, can't wait to see this thing, and then you can do a nice paint job or
Yeah.
make it your own.
I talked to Brittany Walker today, and she's going to do, I'm going to get her to do a whole bunch of Roman numerals, like, in her own sort of drawing on the fretboard.
Nice.
So I'm going to get her to lay that out pretty quickly here. And yeah, I'm excited.
We should be doing more of that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah,
That'd be
well,
awesome.
Mr. Brown does have the guitar kits down
Yeah,
there, right?
yeah.
You've seen a couple of those kicking around the school.
But to create one from scratch is something totally different.
Yeah, it's quite interesting.
So we're talking to Bradley Lambert here,
Hello.
and Mr. Bonikowsky is here as well.
Hello.
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 We're stuck in the detention room because there's a meeting in the conference room where we usually record, so this is kind of interesting. And I noticed there's no door on this room because I went to try to close it, and there's none there. Probably for good reason, right?
Yeah, I'd assume so.
Yeah. And Bradley, you said you've never been in here before.
Well, I've never been in detention in here. I've sat in here or at a test before.
Yeah.
But I've never been sent down here in my 5 years at Delview, surprisingly.
Wow.
So
Good for you.
Accomplishments.
how many of you sitting here playing guitar, talking?
So one of your huge interests is music. And I found this out because you were in my Science 9 class.
Yeah.
And you decided that time to do a Genius Hour project on pipe organs.
Yes.
I still have the pipe organ you made.
You still have it?
I still have it.
Wow.
It's still in there.
I remember that.
So how long have you been playing guitar? Like, how did you get into it? Like, do you remember the first moment you thought, I've got to do that?
Yeah, actually, I remember it was like around 2003, 2004. My dad started buying all the rock music he used to listen to back in the day. And he came home with like basically the whole entire AC/DC catalog. And I was, 4 or 5 at the time. And right there, it was just like, I love this, right? And I got into listening to AC/DC with my dad all the time. And I remember at Christmas time, and I think it was either 03 or 04, my grandmother got me one of those plastic guitars. One of those ones that you just press the buttons on and it makes noise, right? I strummed away with that. I'm pretty sure he played Smoke on the Water over and over the thing, right?
I think my son had one of those.
Yeah. And my birthday's in February, and that thing didn't last from Christmas time to my birthday, so my parents got me a guitar.
Did the frets light up?
Yep. And it was red, and it almost looked like a BC Ridge.
Yeah. Ours was an SG.
Yeah.
It was white SG, but you could learn to play on it, right?
Yeah.
And Smoke on the Water as well.
No, yeah, it just had a little couple strings you could just go like that, and it would play a song through a little speaker on the side of it. But yeah. So they got that for me in Christmas. I'm pretty sure it was 04, and my birthday is in February, and like I said, the plastic guitar didn't last till February, so they got me a little small acoustic guitar from Sears or something like that. And then I was playing around with that. Then my dad, I think in grade 1, he got me my first electric guitar. And that was another Sears guitar, of course.
Grade 1.
Yeah, grade 1.
That's awesome.
And then he was just teaching me stuff, and he decided.
So he plays guitar as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Long time. For a long time. He threw me into lessons in grade 2. I'm pretty sure, for 3 or 4 months.
These are private lessons?
Yeah. Remember when it was R&R before they switched over to Long McQuaid up the road here?
No.
You don't. Okay. Well,
I don't live around here, so.
Okay. Well, there's a Long McQuaid just on Scott Road in 84.
I've been to that one, yeah.
And it used to be a place called R&R Music, and it was me and my dad's Saturday hangout basically every week when I was very young, and we would just sit in there, and I would go for lessons, and we'd hang out in there for usually an hour or two afterwards with the guys in there, so knew them really well. And yeah, I did lessons for like 4 months or something like that, and my dad taught me, and then as the years went by, I basically started to pick it up myself, right? Started learning stuff by myself, and then I've just basically kept going to where I'm at now.
So when you took lessons, what kind of things, like basic chords, or how far did you go with the lessons and what they taught you?
Well, my dad was like, I never learned how to read music, so you're going to learn how to read music.
Okay.
And that's exactly what I didn't do. Right? I did not want to learn how to read music. My dad was telling me to go in there and learn, like he handed me the Hal Leonard lessons books, right, part 1, and I went in there with that, and I remember just asking the teacher to teach me how to play Back in Black, right? And yeah, I never went through with learning how to read music, which I do regret. It would be very nice to learn how to read music. I think I'm going to do that one day eventually, but
well, here's a question: does your dad read music?
Nope.
Right.
So he doesn't have much to say.
When I took lessons, I think it was my mom. She's like, same thing. I took a year of lessons, and then she's like, I want you to learn how to read music. So we bought a book, and my guitar teacher taught me like Eau Claire de la Lune or something. Yeah. And it lasted for like a month.
Yeah.
And it just didn't seem practical because I was learning by ear, and there's tablature, and you kind of just pick things up.
Yeah, absolutely. I
don't know too many guitarists who just learn by reading music. Like that seems to be. I learned piano when I was young, and it started off with the music, and I find that's almost a disability for me now. I have to have that sheet music, otherwise I have difficulty.
Yeah.
Whereas now I kind of want to just play things by ear, and I try to, and it works sometimes, but a lot of times I struggle with it.
Yeah.
So I think guitar is one of those instruments that most people just pick up and.
Yeah, I think if you're playing classical in an orchestra
or jazz or
reading music
like hardcore theory, like music that's meant to be read off a sheet, right? Like most of those books and stuff that people made back in the day with other bands' music written in it, to get away with copyright, they would have to put mistakes in there on purpose.
Really?
Yeah. I've been told that many times. I got an old AC/DC book that my dad bought back in the 80s, and it's Back in Black doesn't have a B flat in it. So,
really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Didn't know that. So I heard we had Jivan on this podcast. He was playing piano, and he mentioned that you guys together wrote a piece of music and you performed it for some sort of competition. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, I can. It was at Carolyn's Music, 72nd and King George, I believe. I think that's where it is, right?
Yeah.
And Jivan had written the start to this song, and he was playing it all the time. This was grade 8, actually. We were both in Mr. Hodgskin's band, right, back then, and I don't know, I started to play with it, and it was almost sort of like a Phantom of the Opera sort of thing. Like there's this rundown, dun 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 dun, and we jammed that back and forth a lot. And then it just sort of turned into a song we were playing together, and Jivan's like, I want to put this, I want to bring this to my school, let's do something with it, they'll let you bring your guitar in. And yeah, we went in there with the song and auditioned for, I honestly can't even remember what it was called, the competition or whatever it was called, but Yeah, we went through and played it in front of a couple judges, and they gave us some tips on like playing in front of people, and it was really cool. It was really cool. My mom actually reminded me of that yesterday because I was telling her about how I was doing this interview, and she's like, "Oh, you should talk about when you and Jivan played in front of the judges."
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So they gave you some tips, but did you watch? Were there other? There must have been other people because it's a competition.
Yeah.
Right. So.
Yeah, and I was the only person there playing guitar. It was all piano compositions, right? So,
oh, really? Okay.
It was. That was awesome. I'm happy I did that.
Cool.
That was really cool.
Have you done anything like that since?
No, I haven't.
Do you usually go and perform for people?
Well, I was in a band in grade 9 and grade 10 with, you remember Nick Coco and Adam Hewson?
Yeah.
And Steven, of course. Everyone remembers Steven.
Everybody remembers Steven.
And a guy from Burntune named Brendan Rawlings. We were all in a band, and it was basically just throwing around classic rock covers, and then we wrote a couple of tunes together, and then we just sort of went our separate ways once those guys graduated, and
right.
I played with them for a while, and I think you remember the Rangers also.
The Rangers?
Did you ever play with them?
Yeah.
Alper.
Yeah.
And
Brock and Tom.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we were at a studio in Surrey, just on 128th and 80, or I think it was 82nd or something like that. It's actually like 2 streets away from where I work. It was pretty convenient. But I don't know. They're brothers, right? And they're always together. And I think it was just for the best for everyone that I wasn't in the group, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm still good friends with all of them. But playing music together wasn't what we all needed, right? I think it's them as brothers as a whole.
Right. So now is it more you just play for fun by yourself, and
well,
you still do the what do we call it?
Live at Lunch.
Live at Lunch. I forgot the name now.
Yeah, I did that once, and I don't know. I kind of do regret not playing a lot throughout high school. Now that I'm in grade 12, it bugs me. I missed out on a lot of opportunities, but I don't know, I'm hoping to make up for them this year, right? Right, Mr. B?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I remember asking you many times.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
I don't know why I'm still stage fright. Like,
do you think brutal. That's what it is?
Yeah, but it's also, I don't know, I've always had a problem with procrastination, like, oh, we'll do it next time. Like,
right.
No, next time.
Did you feel like you were ready, but couldn't commit, or did you always feel like you weren't quite ready?
No, I felt like I was ready. It was just more of the getting over the, like, okay, this is happening now, like, you got to do this right now, instead of sitting around like, oh, we'll do it next time. Like, that was just a hard thing for me to get over, but
yeah.
I've come to the conclusion where, like, you have an opportunity to play, why don't you play? Right?
Well, and you've got a gift that benefits a lot of people when you do play.
So how do you overcome stage fright? Because eventually you do. Like,
by playing?
Yeah,
pretty much.
So do you find that you have to, like, I have it as well, but at some point I just kind of just jump in and see what happens, and it usually turns out okay.
Yeah.
Like the times where I've had to play with my son who plays the violin, like accompany him and stuff like that in front of pretty large audiences, and I do get stage fright. I'm nervous. I'm more nervous than he is.
Even speaking in front of the school, I bet.
Yeah, but you know, when it comes to the point where you have to go up there, I'm just going to do it. Just go.
Yeah, just go for it.
And then, usually it turns out okay. So.
Yeah, I think the best way, not just stage fright, any anxiety over anything is it's going to get worse if you avoid that feeling, right?
It reinforces it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
if you just I've had students come to me who can't do presentations because they've got that stage fright.
Yeah, scared to talk in front of everyone.
Yeah, so we just work on it, and then after a while they get more comfortable, and I'm like, well, okay, you go first. And they're like, what? I'm like, because if you let it go for the entire class, you're not going to do it at the end.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So, and that's worked out so far. That's interesting. So, was it last year when we talked about food trucks?
Yes.
I think it was last year.
Yeah.
I had, and I didn't know this, I can't remember how I found out, but somebody told me that you actually worked on food trucks, or maybe I found this out myself. And I was like, well, that's perfect. We had this food truck project that we were trying with I think it was the marketing class from Miss Forbes. So the idea was they would buy a truck, make it up as a food truck, and it'd be like a foods marketing collaboration, big project, massive undertaking. Got a lot of attention from the district, like, what are you doing?
I bet.
And some good attention too, like they were pretty supportive, like this is a big thing, it could be cool. So I brought Bradley in to talk to the class about what he does. And can you just talk a little bit about that?
Yep. Since I think it was March of grade 9, I believe, I've been working for my neighbor Norm, which is Cassidy Kerfoot's father, and he's my dad's best friend. And I remember he used to have a shop at 84th and 128th, and they were doing it. They were building the food trucks, and he had me in there just doing some general sweep up and just help around the shop, really, because he just wanted to see what I could do, because I've been talking about how I'm taking metal shop here, and then it sort of just turned into a weekend job, and then he moved to a different location, which is just 5 blocks down the road, which is on 80th and 128th now, and he brought me in there for the summer, so I worked that whole summer and got all my welding skills and learned a whole bunch of stuff, which I still have to this day. And
now, were you welding and building things before that job, or did you learn most of it there?
Well, just here, really.
Yeah.
I don't know, I just found a huge interest in Mr. Brown's metal class.
Yeah.
He was teaching it back then, and yeah, I don't know, I just really, I thought welding was fun, right? I didn't have a guitar class till second semester, and metal shop was my one little break of the day, right? So that was probably, I would say grade 9 metal shop was probably a lot to do with why I work and why I'm a welder now. But yeah, I've been working there every summer since. And
so you've been there for a while.
Yeah, it's weird. 3 years.
Wow,
goes by pretty fast.
And it's do you enjoy that job? Obviously.
Yeah, I enjoy working there. It's hard work, but it pays off when you see something all nice and shiny rolling out of the shop, right?
And you get pretty creative with it too, because I've seen some of the trucks you've made.
Oh yeah. Well, it's the whole team. Like, I love everyone I work with there. Like, it's just it's a good environment to work in. I like it. Everyone's just sort of going for the same thing. It's pretty cool. And it's a unique job, right? Even if 2 Grumman trucks all look exactly the same on the outside, they're completely different on the inside, right?
Right.
Every single one of them is customized to who's buying it and what they want put in it, and every single one of them's different. You're not doing the same thing over and over, right?
Right. There's that show called Pimp My Ride.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that, except you're dealing with food trucks.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys do everything, even the wrapping of the truck as well, right?
No, that's actually the one thing we don't do.
Okay, so you do everything besides the graphic arts.
Yeah, that's... We don't want to get into that. Yeah, wrapping's a whole different trade. We don't have... Yeah, we've never done any of that.
So all the tools and machines that are inside is all complete by the time it gets out of there.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a good job. It's a cool story.
Yeah.
I think to say that when I'm older, like, oh, I worked at a place where we built all those food trucks
Right.
that was the craze in 2015, right? That's going to be cool to be able to say that one day.
And are there a lot of people that come to you? Like, most of the food trucks are probably not from around here because you don't see many, but like Vancouver, maybe?
Yeah, it really depends. I don't know. It's hard to say. We get a lot of them are from Vancouver, of course, because we're the only place that really does them here. And well, actually, we're probably the biggest place in Canada that does them.
Really?
There's There's a couple places in California that are pretty big too, but for them to do it legally, they have to do it to Canadian code. And we get trucks that come up from California that things aren't like all up to code, and they gotta come to Pemberton and they have a week to get things fixed, so they come to our shop and stuff. We've had that quite a few times.
Oh, to like music festivals up in Pemberton.
Yeah.
Do you do international business besides fixing them up? Like, do the States give you some orders as well?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we've had them all over the place. We sent one to carts to Amsterdam before. I think we did one to like Nepal or something.
Oh wow.
Yeah, pretty far. So
on average, how long does a truck take? I know there's probably not an average, but
yeah, no, there really isn't. We've had one that they said was going to be out in 3 months, and it's been in our shop for 18 months. So
okay,
that's just because they can't. They haven't been telling us what to put in them, so it's just sitting in the shop basically. And yeah, it really depends. I think it's. I forget how many man hours it is to build one, but it's usually two and a half months probably.
How big is your team? Are there like different teams working on different trucks, or do you just do one at a time?
No, we just have a whole shop. We have 6 or 7 guys, I believe, right now.
Uh-huh.
We had a lot more guys before, but with who we got in there now, we can do twice as much work with less people, right?
Right. Because they're experienced. And
yeah, exactly.
They're good at what they do. I see. So what are you planning in the future? Like, you've got a lot of different skills.
Yeah. That's one big worry I've got lately. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, I love working at Apollo and welding and everything, but I don't know how much longer I'm going to stick with it. Like, my whole entire life I've always been like, okay, never find a regular job, play music, make a living off of that. My whole life. And I just
whole life, you're just in grade 12.
Well, since I started thinking like that. Since I was
2 and you got
not over yet.
Yeah, since I was in like grade 4 and grade 5 when I started playing a lot of guitar, I was just like, okay, don't turn around and throw it away. Like, let's do something with it. Because my dad, he was in bands his whole life, and then he finds a girlfriend, and then now you have kids, and like you're 35, and band's not important anymore, right? I've always been like, okay, don't do that. Let's do whatever I can to make it in music, because it's what I like. It's what I love. I go home after school. If I'm not out with my buddies, I'm sitting in my basement playing guitar for 4 hours after school. So I don't know. I'm hoping. Like, I think the welding thing is probably taking ACE-IT like I did last semester. That was a great thing I did, because it's always going to be there, right? If I'm ever out of a job, I'm never screwed finding another one, right? I have the welding ticket, so there's never going to be no welding jobs,
right?
So that's a good fallback. But I don't know. Like I said, my passion's playing music, and that's what I'm set out to do. And if eventually welding gets in the way of that, it's going to have to be music, right?
So what kind of musical future do you envision? Like, being in a band, solo work, session work in a studio?
Well, of course, being in a band, right?
Yeah.
That's always number one.
Yeah.
Everyone's dream who plays music, but I always do keep in mind all the other opportunities there could be. Like, being a luthier, building guitars like I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe even working at a place like my dad works at, right? A place that manufactures parts for guitars. I just want to be in the music industry, right? But of course, playing in a band number one, or having a solo career, or being a session artist would be. That's what I'd love to do.
So Tim, were you at a crossroads at some point in your life where you were thinking, because you obviously played in bands and things like that, so you must have had a point in your life where you were like, where should I go with this, right?
Yes. So I didn't start playing when I was 2 like you, but I started
was 4.
I started in grade 7 with an acoustic guitar.
Right.
In September, and then they didn't want to buy me anything else until Christmas time. They saw that I was serious, so I got my first. It was a pink electric guitar. So I took 2 years of lessons. Was in my first band in grade 10, and then that continued. Well, then we became something different. We were doing lots of AC/DC covers.
Right on.
Just like you. And then we started, we got a kind of a more serious band, started doing originals, and after graduation played in clubs, and did that for probably the next 93 graduation till about 5 years playing in clubs. We recorded some music and
making no money at all, right?
Making no money at all, but developing a little bit of a following, like a small following.
What are you guys called?
They're called Underwater Sunshine, and by the end of it, like, we could sell out one of the bigger clubs downtown.
Really?
I mean, a lot of that was friends, but then there was starting to be kind of fringe people that were coming out to shows and stuff. So,
cool.
Yeah, like we headlined a couple shows at a place called the Starfish Room, which was on right near Yale Town.
Yeah.
And that's about like a 500-person room.
Wow.
But
really?
Yeah,
I did not know that.
Yeah. So that was good. And then yes, the crossroads was okay. So where to from now? And I did at that point.
Wait, that's where you sell your soul to the devil or something like that.
Yeah,
That's the crossroads.
Not Ralph Macchio.
Yeah.
No. But started to think about, okay, well, is this what I want to do? Do I want to be a traveler? Do I want to, so thinking long term,
Eat at a gas
it
station.
became kind of less desirable. I was thinking about family, and I knew that the two, it would be a different type of scenario. So eventually, I just came to the conclusion that, okay, I'm going to put this on hold, so to speak, and kind of pursue
That's
some
so not rock and roll.
No, I know, so not rock and roll. And then after, I basically I left the band, and when my drummer found out, before we could tell the whole band, he's like, "Yeah, I'm leaving too. We're done." We got all serious, but then we had some reunion shows. We had 2 or 3 reunion shows,
really?
which was fun in the next few years. Very fun.
And this is before social media. Do you think?
Yes.
Well, it's obviously in some ways easier to get a following now, but what is it really? Like, you probably had a lot of word of mouth.
Well, in some senses, it might be easier to get a following. There's more ways of putting yourself out there. Mm-hmm. But there's, like, so much more competition now, too. Like, there's just so many bands. We're flooded with... So I think back in the day, you almost had an advantage. Like, it wasn't as common to have a band stick around maybe for as long. Yeah. Because you didn't have the momentum of seeing others and seeing the competition and that kind of... driving you to be better, maybe? I don't know. Pros and cons, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. I watched this interview of Dave Grohl this morning talking about
awesome.
If you have 4 people writing some songs in a garage, he said, go out and play live. He said, that's what you have to do. Yeah. You have to go out and play live. It's the best way you're going to make it, honestly. And that's what I stand by. Like, even if putting a video of your band playing on YouTube gets 500 million views, right? Uh-huh. That's pretty rare. If you go out and play live, people listen to you and they like you. Most people who enjoy music, if they go out and hear a band they like at a club, they're going to follow them, right?
Right.
I watched that this morning. I was like, that's exactly what you need to do. You got to go out and play live. You got to have yourself be heard to make it.
Does he mean like the dedicated people will actually go out of their way to go see a show, whereas if it was just on YouTube, then it's just kind of it's there and people just watch it in their own homes, and then they go to the next thing on the internet?
Yeah, true. Like, but also you got to think about it. If you're building a music scene in your city, like that's a huge thing. You remember Nolan Scott, of course, right?
Yeah.
He's got a band called Within Rust. They've been around for 4 or 5 years now, and
Well, it's still on.
yeah, they're still going. And
Good for him.
like I said, he keeps building a scene in Vancouver with their band, and people know who they are now, and putting albums out. And I think that's, like, as difficult as it is to do with the technology age, it still can be done, right? You just got to really be determined.
It's good. Yeah, I really like Dave Grohl.
Yeah, he's a cool guy.
There's some things that I've watched a lot of interviews with him, and he really knows what he's talking about, and he's got a very interesting history, of course. Yeah. Who are some of your other influences or people that you like to follow?
Well, the list goes on. Probably,
Well, you started with AC/DC.
yeah, Angus Young, of course.
Uh-huh.
Angus and Malcolm Young. Let's put it this way. I play Gibson SG, which is the same guitar Angus Young plays. So, Angus Young, Robbie Krieger of The Doors, he plays one too.
Uh-huh.
Gary Rossington from Lynyrd Skynyrd, he plays one of them also. So I was like, hey.
So whoever plays that guitar.
Yeah, I was like, I think I like this guitar, and I wanted one my whole life, and
Yeah.
finally got one when I was in grade 9.
What color?
Wine red.
Yeah. I got a story about an SG. I don't know if I told you this. A friend of mine was recording at a studio called The Armory in Vancouver a few years ago, and AC/DC had recorded an album there. And when they
Blow up your
finished,
video, right?
Pardon me?
Was it blow up your video? Or
I
Razor's Edge?
don't know. It wasn't Razor's Edge. It was past that. But they donated guitars. Some of their guitars. Obviously, they have more than one. So they had Angus Young's SG, it was like a 1953 or something, and I got to play it.
You played Angus Young's SG? Wow.
Yeah.
That's
then
amazing.
Malcolm Young played a Gretsch, right? The semi-hollow.
The ripped up.
There's one of those there. Yeah.
What was that like?
Oh, it was so cool. It was good. It felt good.
Yeah, I had...
Savored the moment.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Wow.
I had Alex Lifeson's second prototype of his Les Paul in my hands the other day, actually.
Ooh.
I didn't get to play because there's no strings on it, though.
Where'd you get that?
It's at my dad's work.
Oh, nice.
Probably shouldn't have said that in the podcast, but...
Well, nobody listens to this podcast.
Yeah, I'm in the works of making a documentary right now about playing guitar also, in my media class. So we're doing a 10-week passion project, and
Awesome.
I'm interviewing a bunch of my friends who play music, including you. I meant to ask you for that. So.
Cool. Yeah, that sounds good.
Now he's got to say yes.
Yeah.
Of course,
timing.
Bradley.
So when is that for the whole semester until the end of the semester that you're working on that?
Yeah, it's until the end of the semester.
So at this stage, you're just, I guess, doing research and doing interviews and
no, we're still planning.
Okay.
Yeah, we've been doing for the first 2 months of the class, it was projects he wanted you to do in the last 10 weeks or whatever is, okay, you guys can do this, do what you want, basically.
Nice.
So it's going to be...
Looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Interview my dad and all my friends who play guitar, and then I'm going to do some talking. I might even steal some audio from this podcast. You never know.
For sure. Yeah, you should definitely put that documentary out there when you're done. I know a lot of people who are interested in what you do and would want to see that. For sure.
Sure.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Yeah, I've been really trying to get, this semester's been pretty easy for me, so I'm trying to get my whole, first semester, sort of organized with music. Like I said, I built that slide in Metal Shop. I'm making a documentary on guitars and media, and
You're making the best of that time.
yeah, sitting here talking about music right now at school. So
Well, clearly that's your passion. Did you guys want to jam on something, or did you, Bradley? Did you want to play something first?
Play some blues or something. You want to do some 12-bar or something? I wasn't really planning on.
Did you want to play anything on your own first, or?
I don't know. Let's jam. I don't know.
All right.
solo on a classical guitar.
Should have traded.
Struggling there, holy.
Yeah, you're using one of the stock guitars from the music room. That's pretty good.
It's hard to play blues on a classical guitar. I've never really done that before.
Yeah.
Sounds cool though. I like
Well,
different
the strings like roll when you're bending on here.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
Bendy. So do you ever sing while you're playing, or do you let other people do the singing for you?
I don't know. I'm not too focused on singing, but like it's sort of a campfire thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Harmonica also sometimes I'll play, but I don't know. I'm not too focused on singing. I'd love to be able to sing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. My dad, he didn't sing when he was younger, but he started singing when he was older. And
Oh, really?
I don't know. Maybe one day I'll turn around, adopt a voice like Mr. Bonikowsky over here.
Did you always sing?
No. Our first band, we had, there was a lead singer. He kind of sounded like Jim Morrison from The Doors. So you can imagine when we did like Thunderstruck or Shook Me All Night Long with a deep, you've been thunderstruck. And then with our next band that got more serious, then it was kind of like a John Paul thing. Like we both wrote songs and then we both sung our own songs. So I started singing probably a little bit in grade 10 backup, and then grade 11 lead.
Yeah, I don't know. It blows me away. Like most people don't think about it. Like you're doing two things at once.
Right.
And one of them's already nerve-wracking enough playing in front of people, right? You're doing both at once, like, it's crazy.
Yeah. You really... When I play piano, and I've sung and played piano before, it's like a totally different thing.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
You have to get to the point where your fingers are independent of what's coming out of your mouth. It's almost like...
Yeah, it throws you off, absolutely.
You split yourself into two people almost.
I'm always amazed by drummers who sing.
Yeah.
Like, because they've got 2 feet, 2 hands going, and they're singing.
That's crazy.
Outrageous.
That's coordination.
Right? Don Henley?
Yeah,
Right.
what's his face from the band?
Gosh.
I should
Not Robbie
I should know his
Robertson,
name.
Leon.
Leon.
Oh my goodness.
It's like Levon or something like that. Levon or Leon.
People are out there probably knowing that.
Sorry. We got your name wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. Even playing bass and singing, like Geddy Lee from Rush, like
Yes.
that's crazy. Especially the
that's
stuff they're
crazy,
doing
right?
because it's so progressive, right?
Right.
So you created a what was that thing called for your slide guitar?
It's a finger slide.
Finger slide.
Yes.
And you just made that a couple hours ago?
Yeah. And right
Is that
before I came
copper?
here. It's actually brass.
Oh, okay.
Copper would be a little too soft for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I didn't bring one with me, and I wasn't sure if I was gonna play any slide. But
You want to do something with that?
kind of hard to do on this thing. Try it on there. I didn't really want to throw it out of open tuning. I'm not very good at it, so I don't know. I'm like I said, I'm building a lap steel. I was gonna. It's usually played sideways like this. And
Okay.
I'm not very good at playing like actual slide on here. Yeah, this thing needs to be hardened. Look at the scratches I just put on it. I should probably put some lacquer on this or something before I
So what is the
ruin all my guitar strings.
what is the technique with the finger slide? Like, I mean, I play like my guitar playing is like very elementary.
Yeah.
So what is it? What are you doing there when you're? How do you switch over to playing with the finger slide?
Well, generally you'll have your guitar instead of like regular standard tuning, you'd have it in open tuning or a tuning that's meant for playing slide in. Like you can have a tuning and make all the strings sound like an E chord, so it's when you strum it, it's like an open E chord. And
Right.
yeah, you basically instead of playing in the middle of the fret, you put it on top of the fret, like right there. So if I'm gonna go with this, I'm gonna go over top of the fret. So
Right.
that's basically the technique. Because if you put it here, it's flat.
And I've seen people do it with a bottle as well.
Yep, that's actually that's how it originated.
That's how it started.
Yeah, people would chop the top of a bottle off and use that as your slide.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I don't know. I've been listening to a lot of slide players, and have you ever heard of Derek Trucks?
No.
He's the drummer from the Allman Brothers' nephew.
Oh, the Allman Brothers.
Yeah, he's a really, really good slide. I believe he's the drummer. I'm pretty sure he's the drummer's nephew. But it's an amazing slide guitar player I've been listening to lately, and just sort of influenced me to try to pick up slide. And it's pretty difficult. Like, it's probably the most challenging thing I've tried to learn how to do is playing slide and lap steel and stuff.
So you listen to a lot of older music. Anybody recent that you're interested in? Like, who would you listen to nowadays?
There's a couple bands I've been listening to lately, like the Sheepdogs. Have you heard of them before? They're from Ontario, I believe, or Montreal or something.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure, but yeah.
I've been listening to them quite a bit, and there's this other group called Tyler Bryant and the Shakedown. They just went on tour with AC/DC for a couple months. The guitar player Tyler is amazing. He's really, really good blues player, and he's pretty young. I think he's only like 25 or something like that. So yeah, those sort of bands. And just Derek Trucks, like I said, he's a blues guitar player. But yeah, I listen to a lot of David Gilmour from Pink Floyd. I listen to a lot of his stuff, like his recent solo stuff, and yeah, I'm sort of all over the place right now.
So you're really into the blues, obviously, and
I'm sort of on the verge of getting into blues. I listen to the blues a lot, but I mean, I don't consider myself like a strictly blues player, right? I wouldn't want to say that on a podcast and not be able to play blues, right? So.
But you try different styles.
Yeah. Try listening to some old blues and everything else, really.
Yeah.
Everyone sort of in blues music, everyone sort of takes from each other. That's how it is.
Right.
Everything sort of goes back to the or the right. It's sort of everyone sort of takes from all that, right?
So what kind of other things are you involved in lately? We talked about your music passion, and we talked about how handy you are in the metal shop and woodwork, building a guitar and food trucks and all that.
I go to school. I don't really know what else to say.
I mean, how is school for somebody like you who's like really obviously interested in hands-on work, like building things, right? Like you want a project, and you like your documentary, for instance, you want a project and you want to get it done and see the results at the end.
It's, you were my teacher. Like it was a struggle when I was younger, right?
Right.
Getting me to hand things in and stuff, and I think when I went to Kwantlen there last February, like that was basically the turning point. Like, okay, this is your last year in school. You've had mediocre grades. Like, come on, like let's try to do something with grade 12 and like try to make it a good year and get good grades and actually put forth the effort that I have to put forth into my work instead of just doing everything half, like 50%, right? So basically, like, it's still a struggle, like school and stuff, like in classroom, but I've basically gone through all of that. Like I've done all my academics basically, except for I had to do socials 11 because last year they wouldn't let me take it since I was doing ACIT, so I had to do it this year, and my English next semester. So I basically all electives. I know a lot of people are frowned upon on that, but it's just sort of like I knew like this is what I'm going to do in grade 12. Like, so
is it tough for you to sit through classes still? Like is it just you're probably itching to go back to the metal shop or work on your guitar?
It's not too bad. When I was younger, it was bad. Like I was stubborn. Like I would not listen to anyone.
I remember that. Yeah.
I would just. I didn't want to be there, and thank God I never got into skipping school. Right. So. Yeah.
Well,
it's not that. It's not that much of a struggle. It's just sort of. I try to go to class to get my work done instead of.
That's your focus.
Wait till the class to end. Yeah. So.
Just get through it. Yeah. Well, it's obvious that through the years you've been here, you've got a lot of people who highly respect you. And
thank you very much.
I mean, teachers and students that I've talked to.
Thank you. I appreciate to hear that. Thank you.
No, really. Just because you're a good guy.
Thank you, Mr. Conlon. I appreciate it.
We need more good guys.
That means the world to me.
Yeah. So I hope you do really well and follow your passions, because that's
very much.
I think that's the best advice for anybody. Like, never put down your guitar. Always have it out.
Yeah.
It'll work its way somewhere into your life later on, whatever you end up doing, right? So
thanks a lot.
Keep on it.
It means a lot. Thank you.
Yeah. So good luck with everything.
Thank you.
It's your grad year. Make the best of it, and let's see that guitar at the end. And we all want to watch your documentary as well.
Yeah,
really,
absolutely. When I put it out, you can put it on the
for sure
on the podcast there, or whatever. wherever you're posting that on the website or whatever.
Awesome.
So I'm happy to sit here and talk to you guys and be involved in the podcast, and hope everyone else who's encountered by you, Mr. Kung, follows through and actually does the podcast. It was enjoyable. And
thanks, Brad.
Thank you. All right.
Good seeing you. Okay.
Awesome.
Thanks, Mr. B.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kung.
Let's go smash these guitars now.
Yeah, just like the dude. Okay, thanks a lot, Mr. Kung. That was awesome.
Thanks.